You bottom dweller types are a perfect match for clunkers. A place like this is way out of your league. Just go home already. You're making the air foul." Her shrill voice echoed throughout the store. I felt as if everyone's stares were piercing through me, and I looked down. At that moment, my wife gently grasped my right arm. "Shall we go? Staying any longer will just be a bother." But contrary to her words, my wife had a gleeful smile on her face. "My name is James. I'm the founder and an actor of a theater company. We're pretty active with regional performances and have decent revenue, especially now that our lead actor is beginning to appear on TV and our name is getting out there. We're not super famous, but we're a reasonably well-known theater company. With about 30 actors and staff, we're small in size, but that makes us all the more close-knit. The old-timers in the troupe, including myself, were all members of the same college drama club. They're all great folks who love the theater to bits. Some of them even got so carried away with acting during college that they failed some classes and had to repeat a year. Well, I'm talking about myself there. On stage, anyone can become the lead role, anything at all. You could be a king or a superhero flying through the sky. You could turn into a fish, a lion, or even an alien. It's thrilling to watch this world where anything goes unfold, and I got really hooked on the challenge of bringing the most outlandish things to life in a realistic way. It was the early summer of my senior year in college. My dedication to theater was recognized and I received an award that made me somewhat known among students. I celebrated the victory with my friends, and it only pulled me deeper into the world of theater. And it was around this time that I got my first girlfriend. Her name was Mary. A beauty that lived up to her name's graceful impression. She'd spend 30 minutes every day setting her lovely chestnut-colored hair. I'm the type who sometimes goes to bed without even drying my hair after a shower, so I genuinely admired her for that. She owned several bags from well-known luxury brands that anyone would recognize, rotating them daily, and even her watches and jewelry were of the sort that would shock me with their price tags. Hearing her say, "It's amazing you won an award," made me over the moon. There was no resisting when such a cute and pretty girl tilted her head and asked me sweetly. I'd take her out to fancy dinners, buy her the gifts she wanted. I never once thought I was just being played. I felt happy. Even if she didn't show me much respect. But gradually, her attitude towards me cooled. This became apparent when I was busy with preparations for a theater performance. I hadn't been able to contact her much due to the busyness, and when I finally did, she wouldn't even look at me. To make matters worse, I failed some courses and had to repeat a year, which meant I lost my job offer from a major corporation. I thought being abandoned was inevitable. "James, all you ever talk about is theater. It's so boring. You don't have any prospects, do you? I mean, how many people actually make it in a theater troupe? For you couldn't even land a job, and now you're just declaring a life of poverty by saying you'll devote yourself to acting after graduation. I can't be with someone like that anymore." "But you said you liked me, didn't you?" "That was just lip service, obviously. I only approached you on a whim because you won some award and got a little famous. I thought maybe I'd meet some handsome actor, but I guess I was wrong. It's about time I call it quits, right? Call it quits. It means we're breaking up. I never had feelings for you to begin with, and it's impossible for me to continue this relationship, so, see you. Good luck with your little poor man's life." Mary said that without looking back. She walked away. Later on, I heard through the grapevine that she found herself a wealthy boyfriend from work. In the end, she never once came to see our performances. Despite repeating a year, I graduated from college and started a theater company. At first, it was just a few of us from the drama club, renting a small theater for our performances, but the tide turned when a handsome guy named Robert joined. Robert looked cool doing anything. Whether he was doing a fight scene, a love scene, or even slipping and falling. He just made everything look good. Our drab little theater troupe suddenly became glamorous. Robert's arrival brought a following of female fans, which started to bring in some money, and our troupe began to grow, getting offers from various places. We started to get more requests for regional performances, and our schedule got busier. That's when we needed to start thinking about the backstage and administrative stuff. My cousin's interested in the business side of the theater. Mind if I bring her around? That's what Robert said when he brought Patricia. Patricia, a theater buff who has always loved the arts, would travel far and wide to see various plays. Fresh out of college, she was young but knowledgeable and good at her job. And maybe because she was his cousin, she wasn't starstruck by Robert. Maybe having a handsome cousin gave her immunity. At any rate, I was impressed by her serious and hard-working attitude towards theater. Patricia always had her long black hair tied back, running around makeup-free. Her clothing was simple, mostly t-shirts and jeans, with little concern for fashion. Yet, every little thing she carried had a feminine touch, and every glimpse of her neatly groomed nails made my heart skip a beat. She wasn't treated much like a girl by the other guys in the company, but for me, she became the only girl in the world. It was a few months after she joined that we started being teased as the theater crazy duo. By then, it had become our routine to watch other companies' plays and discuss them over meals. We always ate at no-frills places like diners and pubs, but Patricia enjoyed everything so much that I just loved being with her. Our days went on like that, and naturally, we became a couple and decided to get married after 2 years. Some time after marrying Patricia, the old wagon we'd used since the theater company's early days started acting up. The engine would start, but the fuel efficiency had gotten worse. It made strange noises, and black smoke billowed from the exhaust. This calls for a replacement. I had bought it used for a steal about 10 years ago. It had over 125,000 miles on it. I remembered cramming it full of costumes and props, heading out to regional shows. It was filled with memories, but you can't make new ones if the old ones are holding you back. If I was going to replace it, I wanted something nice, so I splurged on a brand from a foreign country that I had always admired. It's a brand known for sports cars, but their SUVs are pretty cool too, and they have solid support in the States, so I called to make a reservation and decided to go to the dealership later. The clunker of a wagon still ran, despite the noises it made. And it certainly stood out in the parking lot of the high-end car dealership. All luxury cars in the parking lot, huh? Yeah, but were customers just the same? Patricia laughed in response to my comment. Our own outfits might have been a tad plain for a luxury car dealership. But we intended to buy a car, and we weren't just window shopping, so with some hesitation, we headed for the entrance. Welcome. As we walked through the automatic doors, a refined gentleman greeted us. I had a reservation. My name is James. Yes, please wait a moment. I'll check on that for you. As the gentleman bowed slightly and left, a woman in the dealership caught my eye, looking surprised. I recognized her. She was made up beautifully, wearing large earrings and a necklace. Her ensemble was glamorous but not over the top, fitting the upscale ambience of the dealership perfectly. She frowned and stared at us, then strode over decisively. Are you James? Mary, long time no see. I said with a smile, though she didn't bother to hide her displeasure, letting out a sigh. It didn't seem like a friendly approach. Why then did she bother coming over? Do you even realize where you are? You're not just here to look around, I hope. Her icy voice deflated my excitement. Unfazed, Mary continued. I'm the manager here. It's my job to sell cars to our clients. You do realize what kind of cars we sell here, right? They aren't cheap, you know. Yeah, I know, and I have a test drive booked. You're going for a test drive. I understand wanting to, but we're not so free as to offer test drives to people with no intention of buying. You get that, right? No, what do you mean? What I'm saying is, someone like you, without money, can't afford our cars." Mary sighed exaggeratedly, clearly irritated. "You're still driving that old beater, and your clothes. Maybe you should dress better. And your girlfriend there, she's as plain as you are. Can't you buy her even one piece of jewelry? What a provider you are." Patricia at my side seemed momentarily annoyed, but she quickly returned to a smile, saying nothing and just gazing at Mary. Taking Patricia's silence as consent, Mary's voice grew louder. "People like you belong in clunkers. A place like this is way out of your league. Just leave already. You're polluting the air." Her sharp voice filled the dealership, and I felt the stares of everyone inside. I looked down. That's when Patricia gently squeezed my arm. "Let's go. No point in staying here any longer. It's just a nuisance." Yet, despite her words, she had a pleased smile on her face. As we left the dealership, Patricia began making a phone call. "Yes, due to the incident, we'll be canceling our purchase. Thank you. Goodbye." I could still hear voices from the other end as she hung up, unfazed. "If they call back to apologize, all is well. If not, we'll reconsider our options. A relationship with a dealership is long-term. There has to be mutual trust." That's right. It would be strange if they didn't call back after we canceled a $700,000 deal. Indeed, the SUV we were looking to buy, with all the options, came out to $700,000. It wasn't a cheap purchase, but we had been saving up and were ready to pay in full, something I had mentioned when making the reservation. But Mary probably hadn't checked. Patricia had called the dealership's main office in America. Mary would likely hear something from headquarters. But given her pride, I couldn't imagine her apologizing. Would the company even apologize to an individual like us? They'll come to apologize, they must. You should be more aware of your own influence." Patricia said confidently. I just tilted my head, puzzled. A few days later, as Patricia predicted, a top executive from the dealership came to our house with Mary to apologize. "We're terribly sorry to have disturbed you at home. Despite your reservation, Mary here behaved inappropriately, causing offense. That's not it. We left because we were told to leave. We sincerely apologize." The corporate man bowed deeply, while Mary did not even try to hide her discontent. She probably wasn't satisfied. She had been disgruntled since arriving, looking around restlessly and frowning the whole time. "The lady over there says that people like us aren't suited for your company's cars. Told us we belong in a clunker." "Is that true, Mary?" What a thing to say to a customer. At Patricia's accusation, the male supervisor looked at Mary in alarm, but she just crossed her legs, leaned back, and acted arrogantly as if she didn't care. "Well, isn't it the truth? They might live in a big house now, but they're still poor people driving a beat-up car and cheap clothes. Do they even have the ability to pay?" The supervisor seemed flustered by Mary's unyielding attitude. "We mentioned during the reservation that our budget was $700,000. We're freelancers and prefer to pay in full rather than take out loans." $700,000 in full. Jess, aren't you the manager? Weren't you aware? Well, James here hasn't changed a bit since the old days. And what does that have to do with anything? I don't know what kind of relationship my husband had with you before, but now he is a well-known stage actor. It may not be a major field, but he has even performed on the stage of the Empire Theater. We can't tolerate such attitudes based on assumptions." Mary went silent, her complexion turning pale under Patricia's relentless words. "Jess, yes, I was well aware. James, the celebrated actor of Grindhouse Theater Troupe. I love theater and have been watching your performances for years. My wife is a fan of Robert from your company, and we've been to your shows together. Your great acting skills and presence, your ability to captivate an audience as a storyteller, captured my heart. You've also guest starred in other companies and at the Empire Theater, haven't you? I always make a point to attend. So when I heard this story, it really chilled me. I wanted to come and apologize in person." Listening, I looked again at the business card he had given me earlier. It said Head of America Operations. Probably the highest-ranking official of the dealership in America. It felt wrong to have such an important person bowing to me, and I hurriedly spoke up. No, I'm not such an important person. The head knows my husband. It's because of people like you who watch that we can do what we do. Thank you always. Patricia was all smiles, a stark contrast to her previous demeanor. No, anyone who has seen your performances would understand their greatness. The meticulously crafted scripts, direction, and the talent of the cast, all are superb. It's due to your character as the head of the company, isn't it? That's too much praise. I'm embarrassed. They say you are carrying the future of theater in America on your shoulders. I will continue to support you. Thank you. I was embarrassed by his words, but it was heartwarming to hear that our work resonated with someone who genuinely loved theater. But my success was not mine alone. Without my wife, I might not have made it this far. She has always supported me. Without her help, the company wouldn't have grown this large, nor would I have had the opportunity to perform on various stages. It's thanks to her, who has always put me and the company first, that we have come this far. I am truly grateful. James. I tried to hide my embarrassment by taking a sip from my cup. The bitterness of the cold tea seemed to cool my flushed face. You two seem to be a perfect match. It's clear you care deeply for each other. We came here to apologize, but I'm moved by both of your characters. I'm embarrassed by the narrow-mindedness and immaturity of our employee. Mary clenched her hands on her lap and didn't raise her face. Patricia and I exchanged looks and nodded. She was the one to speak. She always handled our external negotiations. Because I'm not very good at it. Your sincerity has come across. We haven't received an apology from the lady yet, but we will positively consider purchasing a card. Oh. And of course, please assign a different person to handle our account from now on. Thank you. Come on, Mary. You should say something too. I'm sorry. Mary mumbled in a low voice, still looking down. I couldn't see her face, but knowing her pride, she must have been chagrined. I felt a sense of relief looking at Patricia, who smiled back at me. Months later, we were ready for the delivery of our car. Thanks to the head manager's arrangements, we received exceptional treatment, with the representative coming to our house for the meetings. However, for maintenance after the delivery and to trade in our old wagon, we had to go to the dealership where Mary worked as a manager. Mary got a dressing down afterwards and was demoted from manager to rank-and-file staff. Now, she's on reception and tea duty. I think it's impressive she didn't quit and kept working. When we parked the old wagon in the parking lot and headed to the store, we locked eyes with Mary at the reception. She glared at us fiercely as she confirmed our identity, but still politely opened a glass door and said in a low voice, "Please come in." As we were led to our seats, Mary brought us coffee. "James, you're still dressing as drably as ever, you know. Ever heard of TPO? It stands for time, place, and occasion, dressing appropriately for the situation. If you don't dress up properly for this place, people might think you're a pua." Patricia and I exchanged surprised glances at her usual harsh words. Well, even after getting a scolding from the higher-ups and being demoted from manager, you can say such things. I'm sorry, I'm just being honest. And you, ma'am, wouldn't you look better if you put on some makeup and wore some jewelry in a place like this? You seem to have good material to work with, and with proper care, you'd look presentable. A wife's reputation can affect her husband's, right? With such a plain and unglamorous wife, I feel sorry for your husband. Mary, don't you think that's a bit too much? I prefer a modest and intelligent wife over a woman who's only interested in decking herself out. Everyone has their own values. Can you not impose yours on us? I was angry at her for bad-mouthing my wife and retorted a bit harshly, which seemed to surprise both Mary and Patricia, since I don't usually show that side of myself. What? Mary seemed at a loss for words, and just as she was about to back away with the tray, a commotion started at the entrance. A foreign-looking man was desperately trying to communicate something with large gestures. The staff were trying to help, but it seemed they were struggling to understand the unfamiliar language he was speaking. Didn't Mary major in foreign languages at university? Aren't you good with languages? I can speak Japanese, French, German, and Chinese, but I don't know that language. While everyone looked puzzled, Patricia chimed in. That's Hindi, used mainly in India. India. Yes, let me go help out for a moment. Patricia approached the man and began to converse. Though I couldn't understand their exchange, the man's demeanor immediately brightened and he began to speak freely. Patricia translated for the staff, and it seemed they were able to communicate effectively. Apparently, his car had broken down. When he was informed that it could be repaired, he was overjoyed and thanked us in broken English, saying thank you, thank you. This gentleman is a film director from India. You know, the kind of films where the king returns and defeats the villains. The one where everyone dances at the end. That was fun. It had so many outrageous scenes, yet the story held together and ended on a high note. We couldn't make such a film in America. I shared my thoughts with Patricia, who relayed them to the director, who then enthusiastically offered me a handshake. He must be a well-known figure in India. But his down-to-earth nature suggested that his film sets must be fun. Patricia and the director talked further. I couldn't understand the words, but it felt like they were discussing me. I couldn't leave my seat as I watched them when suddenly the director stood up and reached for a handshake. Thank you, please. What? Oh, yes, what does that mean? Patricia was grinning. The kind of smile she has when she's up to something. I had a bad feeling, but I couldn't let go of the director's hand and tried to smile ambiguously to hide my confusion. Unbeknownst to me at the time, Patricia had been recommending me for the lead role in the director's new film set in America, claiming I'm a famous actor from America. My bad feeling was spot on. The lead role in an Indian movie meant I had to learn to dance. It led to days of hellish dance lessons before the shoot. After dancing every day until the soles of my feet peeled and my knees and back were sore, I somehow finished filming and became an overnight sensation when the movie was released. Just being an American actor in an Indian movie was newsworthy, but for some reason, America went crazy for me dressed as Native Americans dancing to Indian music. Dance covers started popping up on social media and spread like wildfire. Soon enough, a sequel was greenlit. I'm still surprised by this turn of events, but Patricia seems quite pleased. My husband is the most wonderful man in the world. He deserves to be seen by everyone. I'll support him wholeheartedly for that. Saying this, she was grinning as always. Mary left the company soon after. Rumor has it she decided to study languages more and went to study abroad around the world. Determined, she cut her hair short, and I heard from the dealership staff she looked like a completely different person. After seeing me dance in the center of an Indian movie, she said, I can't support him to that extent. I'm totally outdone. Well, most people probably couldn't follow their spouse to India to do translation and support. I'm just grateful for my wife. On one day off, Patricia and I went for a drive in our new car. It's quiet, stable, and extremely comfortable to ride in. Easy to drive. I'm truly glad we bought it. Despite some troubles, it all led to a great opportunity, and I think it all turned out well in the end. All because my wife was there beside me. It's been tough up till now, but I'm really glad you were with me. What's this all of a sudden? I just felt like saying it. Looking forward to spending more time with you. Same here, and not just me, but this little one too. Patricia's words made me widen my eyes in surprise. She pulled out a pink booklet from her bag. It was a maternity health record book, and I hugged her tight, overwhelmed with emotion. Thank you, I'll cherish you both for life. Yeah, I hope we can add more to our family. Let's live every day with joy. I look forward to the future with Patricia. Maybe we'll drive this car on family trips and camping. Surely, days filled with smiles await us. And for that, I want to cherish her more than ever, to make her happy. That's what I wholeheartedly feel.